Welcome back to our program. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. In this final segment, we will continue our conversation with Professor Zong-Ho Bau of the National Taiwan University. We're going to discuss what are some of the other trouble areas around the world. Professor Bau, since the progress made in cross-strait relations, Taiwan Strait is no longer considered, quote-unquote, a hot spot in the world. What are some of the other trouble spots, trouble regions around the world that you could identify for us?
I think maybe Korea Peninsula,
yes.
North Korea issue. I think that's probably the immediate and the serious issues for United States to deal with, and for many other countries to concern. So I think that's one issue. Another issue, maybe not so immediate, and that's still the Middle East.
Yes.
Yeah, that's long-term troubles for many countries. So it's lead the wisdom and how the United States have a very smart policy to deal with Middle East countries. But I think President Obama, when now he is the president of the United States, I think its chance is better because unlike the previous president, I think for Obama he is more softer and more understand the positions of the Arabian states. So in that sense, maybe a more balanced policy between the both. Basically, I think North Korea is probably
the most pressing
most hard spot. Right?
Yes,
yeah.
And we understand that. Of course, in the Korean Peninsula situation, the so-called Sixparty talk in the past few years have proven to somewhat successful, limited success in terms of bringing North Korea back to the negotiation tables. We, of course, at this moment, we don't know yet if United States under President Obama will actually revive the Six-Party talk mechanism, or is it going to go through a Washington, Pyongyang direct bilateral talk? We don't know that yet. But do you think that the multilateral approach will be better fitted in terms of resolving the different conflicts that we see around the world, particularly with North Korea?
Yeah, I think so. I don't mean that this kind of talk mechanism, will be very, very powerful. But the main problem for the Korean Peninsula is the North Korea is now isolated state.
Yes.
So in that sense, I think a leader could be very, very irrational. So this kind of a mechanism is a six-party talk, and North Korea is able to sit down and have exchange viewpoints with relevant countries. So it will help the leader of North Korea remain rational position.
Okay.
So I think that's very important, very critical for North Korea. I mean, to be not a responsible state, but not like a rogue state.
Yes.
I think that's very, very important. So I think that mechanism should be continued.
Yeah. When we were talking about financial tsunami, this year, we also referred to the fact that there was a G20 summit meeting in London back in April of this year. But a lot of people, after the conference was over, said that it should not be G20, it should be G2, namely the United States and China only. So that fact, it gives the indication that China is now a risen power. It is now the major international player. How would you think that international relations will be different after China's rise? And would you think that China can be a instrumental player in terms of the multilateral approach that we see in resolving conflicts around the world?
Yeah, I think China should be a very responsible players in the future. And in dealing with the financial crisis, Tsunami, I think China is very important. So maybe we can say China is inevitable.
Yes.
So I think in that sense, if the United States and China, just as you mentioned, the G2,
yes.
if they are able to have some compromise and find the common ground to find the solution, I think that's good for the global finance. And just as I mentioned before, I think if China is able to finish this problem successfully, I think that will greatly enhance the image of China in the international community. I think that's good for China to achieve the more national interest, and also that's good, also good for the United States. We are looking forward to seeing that development.
Yes, and Professor Bau, do you think that under President George Bush, the war on terror was the top one foreign policy priority? Do you think that will continue with President Obama, or is it going to be a more balanced approach that will cover all the different issues, the war on terror, economics, and also the climate, and also the environment? Would you think all those issues will be important in international relations under President Obama?
Yeah, I think will be more balanced policy, because terrorism, that's a very big issue in international society. That's true. Even right now, it's still a big issue.
Yes.
But I think, just I mentioned, Obama's background is more balanced between the Arabian states and Israel. So he will be try to choose the soft policies in dealing with relevant countries. So I think many developing countries, like the traditional so-called third world countries, I think Obama is more acceptable. So it means that the image of the United States under his leadership will gradually change a little bit. So I think the issues like you mentioned, the climate change and the energy,
Yes.
that's the global issue. I think that hurt the future face of the humankind, as it could be very serious. So I think terrorism is still an issue, but not the only issue, not the dominant issue. I think maybe the climate change and the energy will be the next dominant issue.
Okay. And for the remaining few minutes that we have, Professor Bao, we understand that you've been an educator all your life, and currently you're also the vice president of the National Taiwan University. Can you then share with us, for all those many young people that are watching our program today, that can you share with us, what is education to you, and especially at the higher education level? And also, what are some of the challenges that you see for Taiwan's higher education, especially with the pending approval of mainland students coming to Taiwan starting in 2010 at the earliest, that how would that change Taiwan's education system in the years to come?
We discussed previously.
Yes.
We hope to diversify Taiwan's market.
Yes.
For higher education, we need the multilateral interaction with many good universities around the world.
Yes.
I think that's good for Taiwan. And you mentioned that maybe we can have more excellent students coming from mainland and join the whole education system. And I think for Taiwan, the main challenge is how we can diversify the measurement to measure the achievement of the different fields. For example, for natural science, for physical science, they have their own measures, their value, their own measure.
Yes.
But for social science, that's a different story. For humanity, that's a different story. So if we can diversify our measurement, and just depends on the different characteristics of the fields, and maybe we can have more accomplishment for the scholars to develop their own wisdom and intelligence. And this kind of intelligence, not only for Taiwan, but for many other countries, just like internationalization.
Yes.
So internationalization of the campus become very, very important challenge and the issue. For Taiwan's, we want to compete for the higher ranking.
Yes.
in the world,
yes.
But the ranking seems still a lot of rooms for us to improve. But and very important issue is internationalization.
Okay.
Yeah, that means how we can have a more internationalized campus.
Yes.
Invite more international students to join us. I think that's very, very important for Singapore and for Hong Kong. Even the university's ranking is higher. Maybe for some measurement is higher than Taiwan for National Taiwan University, for example. But I don't think that if we take a look the whole operation, the whole fields.
Okay.
I don't think we are lower than them. But
Okay.
they have a very, very, very strong point is they are internationalized campus. Many other international students join their campus.
Okay.
So that's a great challenge for us in the future.
And that's also one of the primary reasons that we have a program like the Taiwan Outlook, and we have the opportunity of inviting distinguished scholars, academic leaders,
One more
and Professor Bau.
One
Please.
more point. Taiwan should be, members of international society.
Yes.
We should enter the international society. Then for higher education, we have large loans for us to develop.
Okay, good. Professor Bao Tzong-Ho, thank you very much to be our special guest on the Taiwan Outlook today. And we're looking forward to, in the future, when the opportunity is right and your time permits, to have you back as a repeated guest on our program. Thank you very much, Professor Bao.
Thanks for your invitation. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching our program. I'll see you next time on MacroView Television. Thank you.